Hello friends, this is Professor Umesh Arya. I am a media teacher in the Guru Jambheshwar University of Science and Technology. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss the importance of communication in crisis management. So let's start with what is crisis. So a crisis can be defined as the challenge to the system for which the usual transactional patterns are ineffective. So this was the definition given in 1983, and if we look at the individual words, then we'll find something very knowledgeable about this. That crisis is a challenge to the established system, and towards which the usual transactional patterns to solve that issue they are ineffective. So that is known as crisis. So another dictionary definition of crisis is that the crisis is a time of great disagreement, confusion or suffering, an extremely difficult or dangerous point in a situation. So now dictionary says in a muted terms that it is the time of great disagreement, confusion, suffering, conflict and these kind of things, and it is difficult and dangerous at times. So this was from Oxford Dictionary. So like we can see that crisis is largely a negative term. So let's come on to the communication part of it. So communication, as we all know, that it is defined as the process by which people interactively create, sustain and manage meaning. So Conard and Poole in 2005 gave this definition, and again if we focus on a few important words, then we find that communication is a process wherein people interact to create, sustain and manage some meaning for that communication, right? And let's come to the last concept of it, that is management. So management is the control or organization of something according to the Oxford Dictionary. So this is not a complete definition of the management from a subject point of view, but as far as this lecture is concerned, this is sufficient that management is treated as controlling or organizing something. If we put together all the words definition, then crisis, communication, management. So we see that there is a situation which is dangerous, which is unpredictable, and it is a challenge, it is a disagreement, it is a suffering, or it's a time of difficulty, right? In this time, the communication people, they are supposed to create, sustain and manage the meaning of the communication which is being delivered to the target audience. And how to manage this? It's by controlling or organizing something. So that was a general brief about the crisis management. Okay, now let's focus on the actors of the crisis communication. Like there are 4 types of actors which may experience the crisis in their life. For example, the very first one, it may be an organization, any company, any institution, and the people, their internal or external publics. Like there are many stakeholders in an organization or a company. So there are suppliers, there are employees, there are society people at large, there are tax people, and there are consumers, so many of them if you count the list. So these are the various stakeholders who are affected by the crisis in the organization. Then is government. Government has to face the crisis on the daily basis. It may be from internal and it may be from external sources. Internal means the crisis inside the country, like these days the farmers protest is going on, so it's a form of crisis before the government, that it's a very important or challenge to the established system, and then it can be external risks. External risk means from neighboring countries, issues from across the border, and at the international level. Then crisis can be faced by individual also, when nobody but a particular individual is facing the crisis in his or her own life, when the concept of self and the idea of self is at great risk, or it is being challenged, and the individual is not feeling comfortable because of that. And in the last, it is the group which is facing the crisis. Like, it's, group is a collection of people having common interest, people who are bound by a common interest, whether it is education, religion, is a society, it's a religious or spiritual group, or financial group, etc. So these are mainly four actors which experience crisis in their lives on the daily basis, or very frequently, or sometimes in their life. So we'll focus on the communication part of it. So function of the communication, as we just discussed, is to create, sustain, and manage the meaning. So we hypothesize that the crisis is coming because there is some communication gap, or there is some problem between the two parties, in which one party is experiencing the crisis or the risk. So it can be best managed by the communication, because in the communication we have to create, sustain, and manage the meaning of the discourse, meaning of the interaction which is going from our side. When we come to the different levels of communication during a crisis, what are the communication levels during crisis? So these are three levels, meaning thereby in these three levels, people, organization, government, individual groups, etc. may face crisis at one of these three levels, or all the three levels. The first one is intrapersonal. So as we all know that intrapersonal is strictly a self entity, right? When a particular person is facing the identity crisis, and his or her beliefs, they are being challenged, the concept of self is under scrutiny or threat. So internal attitude, internal script of the subconscious mind is at challenge. When a person feels that he or she is not able to project out the values, and those values are not being cared for in the society, and because of that he or she is facing some kind of risk, either in his personal life or in the professional life. So that is strictly an intrapersonal level. Next comes the interpersonal levels, that is between two or more people. And when we talk about two or more people, then automatically small group, big group, etc., these kind of terms, they come into play. So when the crisis is playing between two or more people, or between two groups or more than two groups, so that becomes a interpersonal communication level for the crisis. As we all know, in the today's scenario, most of the crises, rather I must say around 99% of the types of crises, they are interpersonal crisis, because constantly we are facing the crisis from the external factors, not to count about the internal factors, but external factors, they pose crisis to us, and we are constantly in a state of struggle to solve these crises. So that's come under the interpersonal category. Then is computer mediated communication. Now this is the last level, and I think it is the arguably the most important level in communication these days, because most of our interactions they happen in the online world. And computer mediated communication means there is a mediation of computer while sending out the communication, and communication is creating the meaning for us. So this is the another level and very important one, because online communication on social media is also contributing to the computer mediated communication. As we all know, in the recent times, I think in the last 6 to 7 years, online communication has gone through so many changes. It has increased. People they are searching for the company's website, company's verified social media accounts to find more about the company, and less interaction is happening interpersonally, physically, or at intrapersonal level. And similar is the thing with the search engine results, right? Search engine results, for example, if a company has bad reviews because it might have faced some crisis, so people have written extensively on their blogs, on their websites, or on the comments of the social media account of those companies. So search engine remembers those comments, and whenever even after the successful resolution of the crisis, when somebody searches for that particular keyword, then all the comments, 6-year-old comments during the crisis, they pop up before the people. So search engine listings are also very important part of computer mediated communication. So again, to summarize that, there are 3 communication levels on which the crisis communication operates, that is intrapersonal, interpersonal, and computer mediated communication. Now let's discuss a few characteristics of the crisis communication. So crisis communication is a subspecialty of the public relation professional who is designed to protect and defend an individual, company, or organization who is facing the challenge to the reputation, right? So crisis communication, it is the specialization of the public relations professionals who are expert in analyzing the situation and designing the best messages in order to mitigate that crisis. And one of the very next important characteristic of crisis communication is that crisis communication treats crisis as an opportunity in the long term and not as a threat, as usually perceived by people. So it's not a threat, it's the opportunity in the long term. For example, in the recent corona times, every industry is facing the downturn except the information technology industry, because even in the challenging times they have managed to put a nice growth. I'm not talking about the deceleration in the growth, but they have increased their margins in the COVID times, so which is unbelievable, because they know that it's a crisis and it is a opportunity in the long term. So function of the communication during a crisis is to stabilize and advance the organization by inspiring confidence, earning trust, and engaging stakeholders. So crisis communications job is to stabilize and further the organization's interest by serving by inspiring confidence in all the stakeholders and earning trust, imbibing confidence in the stakeholders, and all those kind of positive aspirations. And many crises, they can be predicted in advance due to established knowledge pool and historical experiences, because earlier times when we were not having a good record or repository of the crises, so we had to face new crises every day. But now in the last 100 years or so, when we have started keeping records of all the crises, which has which have happened over a period of time. So we have a fairly good repository of the crisis and how it was successfully resolved. So these days not many crises are very new actually. They have some echo in the earlier crises. So that is all documented. Now the very important question comes that why communicate during crisis? What is the need of communication during the crisis moment? Okay, the first one is that communication is the very central to all the activities of human life. If you think for a moment, what kind of activity can be performed by you if you don't communicate? If you just keep if you remove your social media accounts, you keep your mobile aside and you just be in the silence, what kind of activities you would be performing? Practically nothing. At best, only intrapersonal communication can be make better this way, but intrapersonal communication is not visible to the outside world, and this outside world needs the communication activity every time. So communication is central to all the activities. Then all crises are result of either communication gap, miscommunication or over communication. Now people say that most of the problem in our houses, they are created by over communication rather than lack of communication. So communication gap also should not be there because it leads to the wrong understanding, which leads to the crisis. And miscommunication should also not be there because miscommunication means the wrong communication, so it also leads to some kind of resentment, thus it may lead to crisis. And over communication should also not be there, as it leads to the unexplained consequences resulting into the grave crisis. And why we should communicate during the crisis? That importance of dialogue in the relationship management is a well established practice. If you read the newspapers, if you listen to the online news or television news, you will find one thing very common. Everywhere, all the disputes or the risks posed by these disputes, they are being tried to be solved through the dialogues, through the interaction, through the meetings. So dialogue is the central point in the relationship management. That's why we need to communicate during the crisis, because the main goal of every workplace crisis communication strategy is to enable seamless communication during crisis within an organization, right? Well, it is bound when a crisis comes, then a company should immediately respond, right? Now this is a very standard line of wisdom in the crisis communication, that company should immediately respond. That means it should have the at least something to communicate, so that the crisis doesn't deepen, it stops, it pauses there, and the company can make effort to solve it at the later stage. Because absence of communication or over communication or wrong communication would further aggravate the situation, thus leading to more damage. It's not that over communication, miscommunication or communication gap, it can lead to the crisis, but it can further deepen the crisis, and it can prolong the crisis. We have so many case studies in the corporates where all these factors like over communication, miscommunication, etc., they have led to the development of the crisis, and the crisis prolonged for so long. Okay. Then again, a very good reason why we should communicate during the crisis is that time duration would extend to unrealistic level if we don't communicate during the crisis. And with every passing day, the uncertainty will definitely increase in the public space. So that's not very good. And financial reputation and stock market performances may suffer beyond repair if we don't communicate. The same happened with the Jet Airways case, Satyam Computers, Yes Bank, etc. And even the same happened with 2010 recession, the world recession. It happened that countries, they could not anticipate that the recession is coming. And when London School of Economics was asked by the Queen Elizabeth of England that why we could not anticipate this coming recession, then they gave the reply that we were in the state of denial. We were knowing that it is coming, but we were in a state of denial. That means the communication, proper communication, could not take place, and you can see the results of that depression. Then if we don't communicate, then the bad reputation and image in the eyes of external and internal publics of the organization will definitely suffer. In a lecture on image management, we have clearly seen that the world is increasingly becoming image savvy, and everything what you see, you decide based on that. Nobody is going to peep inside you and see for your intrapersonal communication. No, everybody goes what is in the media space. And if we don't communicate, then company's most valuable asset, that is brand equity, it will be eroded, and that's very dangerous situation for a company, because that's a more or other, I should say, that's the most valuable asset for any company. Future growth plans can be severely affected. At outside world, you know that it moves on what is there on social media, what is printed about your company in the newspaper. So future growth plans will also be affected. So in a nutshell, all the things which one can imagine negatively, they are definitely going to happen if we don't communicate during the crisis. So crisis communication is very important. Now let's see what are the 3 phases of crisis management. So the first phase is pre-crisis level, meaning thereby the crisis has not happened as yet. So in that case, planning and prevention strategy can be adopted, because we can predict with the help of the artificial intelligence applications these days, or we can take cue from our established crisis management studies, and we can many times anticipate the crisis coming in a short period of time. So that is a pre-crisis phase. Then is the main crisis phase, in which the actual crisis is taking place. And then it's a post-crisis, when the crisis has ended, and then the post-crisis phase starts. Now it's a time of evaluation and correction phase, right? So as we see that instead of thinking these 3 terms in a linear fashion, we can make a cycle also, like pre-crisis, crisis, then post-crisis, then again pre-crisis and crisis. So this cycle goes on for companies, because today's world is simply unpredictable, and unforeseen crises, they can come at any point of time. So what we are supposed to do during these 3 phases is that we should evaluate our communication strategy, and we should tailor our communication in order to avoid the crisis, or if the crisis has happened, then to mitigate, to lessen the effect of that crisis on the performance of the company. Now see, what are the essential communication elements during crisis management? Now we are dealing with the importance of communication in crisis management. So as we can see that communication is the central force here in solving all the crises. So first one is the clarity. The communication should be clear, meaning thereby the people, the target audience should understand the arguments clearly. If the argument has been given in a very, uncomprehensible language, then people will not understand it. The stakeholders will find it difficult to understand, and then they will think something else, that the company is trying to avoid the responsibility. So in the very first place, the communication should be clear. Then it should be concise, very, very, very concise communication, so that people, they need not to read the whole document of 40,000 words. They are not going to understand. You must have seen the advertisements of Jet Airways, Yes Bank, and Sahara Group. I mean, these are the recent crises. So every time the crisis happens, they put the big ads in the front of the newspapers of India, English and Hindi, and they just write in a very simple language. Most of the part of the advertisement is covered with headlines and something to be conveyed in a very crisp form. Then they write just a small para. They don't explain the things too much, because people, they are not that much media literate. So it has to be concise. Then it has to be credible. The communication to solve the crisis should be credible. It means it should be coming from the competent authority, and it builds the trust. It's not that anybody is giving information in the social media, even the people who are not authorized by the company to speak to the media. So it should be credible. It should be from the top people of the organization. Then communication should be concrete. There should be concreteness in the communication, because it builds the confidence. It should not beat about the bush, but straight away talk about the issue and what the company is going to do about it. Then communication should be complete. There should not be any issue which is left untouched as far as that communication is concerned, because it ensures the wholeness in the issue and public doesn't feel betrayed. Then it should be courteous, because courtesy improves the relationship and it calms down the people's feeling. At no point of time a company or an individual or government or any organization or a group who is facing the crisis, they can be rude. They are not supposed to, they are not allowed to be rude or impolite or insensitive in their statements. They just have to maintain the grace, and the courtesy should prevail in the communication activities. Then is consideration. Consideration means the company should take all the things into the consideration, rather than focusing and solving on one part of it, because there are many investors, which are small investors, medium and large investors, and so many other stakeholders are there. So everybody's interest has to be considered in that. So it leads to better understanding. Then there should be consistency of communication during the crisis. Consistency means if the crisis is taking too much time to resolve, then during that time the company's communication statements or the efforts, they should be consistent. It's not that the very next advertisement is saying something opposite to the first advertisement, and the communication on social media is in further conflict with the second advertisement. So this kind of inconsistency should be avoided. Okay. Then is communication must be collaborative, right? Because collaboration means it again takes into account all the stakeholders, because the company cannot afford to lose anybody, whether it is internal publics, that is employees, and external people, not even a single individual it can afford to ignore. So it ensures the equal participation. Collaboration involves everybody. The next is communication should be compassionate. There should be a sense of compassion with no vindication whatsoever, right? I recently was reading the case study of Johnson and Johnson in US. It's more than, I think, 70 years old when they launched a fresh medicine, and then 7 people, they were killed by consuming that medicine. So Johnson and Johnson knew that nobody has died because of this medicine, and some foul play was later on unraveled. But Johnson and Johnson recalled all the medicine stock from the market, and again did not launch it for a few years. Then again, it modified the product and then launched, and it was well established that the drug is safe, but out of a compassion for the health of the people, public first attitude, so they recalled that. Then again, communication should be cooperative. It should lead to cooperation, because then cooperation leads to the exchange of good practices. In no case communication can be competitive, which is opposite of cooperation. Then communication should be conscious, meaning thereby it should be a deliberate effort to improve the situation from the company or the government. So it should not be something unconscious effort, that something is going on unconsciously, and whatever message is going in the society and we have no control over it. No, it's not that. It's a deliberate, conscious process. Then the communication to solve the crisis should be creative. The creativity allows the reception at the right feeling level, because in normal statements we can't reach to the people's feelings. Feeling can only be touched when we design our communication in a creative way. And what is the definition of creativity? That depends upon the type of situation, type of place, culture and organization, publics, etc. Then the communication should be towards the change, right? The communication should allow departure from the problematic pattern, because the problematic pattern itself has led to the crisis, right? And so if we are carrying on with the same format or template of the communication, then we can expect another crisis very soon. So the communication to solve this crisis should be having the quality of the change. And in the last, there should be commitment in the communication, because it allows firmness in interaction. There should be a sense of commitment. If the company is saying something today, if it is promising something to solve the crisis, the commitment should stay. It should not change after 1 or 2 months when the crisis is over. So these were some essential communication elements during the crisis management. Of course, all these communication C's we all study in our theory papers, but they are hardly put to the actual use as far as crisis is concerned. Okay, so let's assume the crisis has happened, and now the company, public relation professionals and professional crisis managers, who are the communication specialists, they are on the job, right? Okay, so the very first response from the communication people to stop or to pause the crisis would be communicating the holding statements. So what are these holding statements? Whenever a crisis breaks out, then this is the first line of defense for the companies, because company need to understand the issue. It needs to diagnose the problem and then reach out to the right kind of people, right kind of channels and strategies. That will take time. That will take a lot amount of research, meetings, and many cup of teas and many other things. So it requires time. But as I just mentioned, that the crisis has happened, so it cannot be left on its own, because then it will grow, right? Like a spiral, it will grow. then the concept of holding statements are designed. What is holding statements? So I read the definition. The holding statements are the messages designed for use immediately after a crisis breaks, so that it pauses, right? And company can get time to work on that. The holding statements can be developed in advance to be used for a wide variety of scenarios to which the organization is perceived to be vulnerable. So this definition says that whatever kind of crisis is there, no problem. Companies, they devise 5 to 6 holding statements, and they can put out in the media from their statement and on their websites also, from their official channels, so that their version is out there in the eyes of the people. And in the meantime, company can devise the strategy to solve that crisis. So I'm going to read a few company statements, meaning thereby the holding statements from the company. So I will read 3 holding statements from a hotel chain which is recently hit by the natural disaster, that people are not coming to the hotel chain, and this kind of crisis they are facing. And now see what are these holding statements from the hotel chain. The first one is that quote, "We have implemented our crisis response plan, which places the highest priority on the health and safety of our guests and staff." Now this is a totally non-controversial statement, and it fits well within the definition of the holding statement. So the next one is quote, "Our thoughts are with those who were in harm's way, and we hope that they are well." And the last one is, "We will be supplying additional information when it is available, and we would be posting it on our website." Now these 3 statements, I mean, they are very good holding statements, and the company can have many holding statements like this, so that the crisis may not further deepen. And now we are discussing a few case studies in crisis management where communication played a central role. So this is a Cadbury chocolate case in 2003, when a few worms were found in the Cadbury chocolate in India. So people started panicking, and sales it went down drastically. So Cadbury people, they hired Amitabh Bachchan as brand celebrity, and you must have seen the advertisements on the TV where they are taking Amitabh Bachchan there, and Amitabh Bachchan is picking up a chocolate in the manufacturing process, and there it is he's opening and eating that, and he says, "Oh, it's okay." So that's one of the very good case study. And alongside this, Cadbury invested 15 to 20 crores, right, on imported machinery, and whole packaging of the chocolate was Cadbury was redesigned, and it led to the additional cost, but the cost was not passed on to the customers. That's the big thing. So everything was internalized. Then we have Nestle crisis, in which Maggi noodles in 2015, there was some problem in the spices used by the Maggi in 2015. So what did Maggi do? It removed all the products from the market immediately, which is a sign of corporate responsibility, and it put a FAQs, frequently asked question list on the website, so that people who are affected, because Maggi is such a favorite brand for the kids, so people are concerned, parents are concerned, so it made a list of few frequently asked questions and put on the website, so that people they are rightly informed. And it also used the social media to assure customers that things are okay, and very soon things they really became okay. Then was Zomato's case, like MCBC. This was mac and cheese, butter chicken kind of advertisement, which was aired by Zomato. So ad was it was a very bad hit among the target audience. Then what did Zomato do? It removed the advertisement. It felt sorry, and then Zomato placed new ad, and they did a very unique thing. They asked the customers to avail a 10% cashback, by using the promo code, and the promo code was outrage. So this is a very creative kind of thing, so that it shows the company's policy that we are really sorry about that. And same happened with Samsung. So Samsung is a technology brand, as we all know. So Galaxy Note 7, which was a terrible failure, so company did not shy away from accepting their weakness in the product, and the company recalled all the phones and closed down the product line, because they kept the customers on the front line. So because the Samsung had to lose billions of dollars in the whole process, but they managed to solve the crisis in the end. So thank you so much. Thank you.